Hi, for this demonstration of Audiokinetics Wwise, I recorded and designed all of the sounds for a level in the first-person shooter game Cube, and implemented the sounds onto the game using the middleware program Wwise. I started with footstep sounds, which I had to record early in the morning to minimize the amount of ambient noise. I used a Zoom H2 to record the footsteps on concrete, grass and dirt surfaces, and then added the sound files into random containers in Wwise, sequencing left and right footsteps one after the other, so that they would be played in random order, helping to make sure that no two footsteps sounded the same. To help further this process, I also randomized the pitch and volume of each sound within a set of parameters, so that even the same sounds played twice would sound slightly different each time. I adopted this process with almost every sound in the game to simulate as much natural variation as possible and avoid repetitiveness. To get more robotic sounding footsteps for the rhino monster, I used a wind-up camping torch. For some of the weapon sounds, I used pre-recorded sounds from a sample library. To enhance the somewhat weedy original samples, and, in this instance, make the sound of the shotgun going off as satisfying as possible, I used 5 spectral layers for each sound, 1 where higher frequencies were emphasized, 2 for mid-range frequencies, and 2 for low frequencies, and added modulations, distortion, and EQing to each layer. Implementing the shotgun sounds in Wwise was interesting, as I was able to randomize the layers individually and again randomize pitch and volume so that no two blasts would sound the same. I then added a set of pump in and pump out sounds and set the delay in the event manager to play slightly after the shotgun blasts and randomized the delay within customized parameters so that the timing of the pump in and pump out never sounded the same. Making fist punch sounds was a lot of fun and allowed me to get creative with the sound design by using 8 or 9 layers per sound. To give the rocket launcher, fireball and slimeball attacks a more alien feel, I gave a bit more freedom to the modulation, EQing and sound design, and so for the slimeball explode sound, to add a squelchy organic element to the texture, I used creamy pasta. For the monster vocalizations, I hired a friend of mine, a talented voice artist, to make attack, grunt, pain and death sounds for the monsters in the level. For the larger monsters, I lowered the pitch of the recordings and often layered them with a variety of permutations of the original sample, using EQ, modulation, delay and reversing. For the Raoul attack sound, I also gave it some phrases in an alien language. I treated the smaller monster recordings in a similar way, but also pitched them up and used multiple vocal layers to give them a certain shrill quality. For the rhino, I heavily modulated the vocal samples and added electric spark sounds to get a robotic effect.
Okay, time is critical. Find the quad and get out of there.
I also had my friend record voiceover lines as an operator communicating by radio transmission to the player. I set triggers around the level, using the map editor to recall sound events in Wwise when the player walked over certain areas.
There should be a switch around there somewhere. That'll get that door open. Marvelous. You've got the quad. Now get to the teleporter.
For the character, as well as jump, land and pain sounds, I added heartbeat sounds and used real-time parameter controls in Wwise to activate the heartbeat when the player's health reached a certain level. I also set it to increase in volume and become more erratic as the player's health deteriorated. I also added heavy breathing for when the player's health was low, and used a blend container so that the breathing would transition to a faster breathing track as the player's health deteriorated. Finally, I added a low-pass filter over all of the sounds other than that of the heartbeat and the breathing, in order to emphasize them and increase the level of urgency as the player's health diminished. I wanted the items in the game to help give the player a sense of rejuvenation, and so used recorded samples with a variety of plugins and synths to enhance them. For the armour, I used cutlery and modulation to get a sword clashing effect. For the health, I used a rising synth to get an uplifting effect. For the teleporter, I created an infinite loop of a humming sound I created and used distance attenuation to make it louder the closer the player was to it. Before going through the recording and implementation process, I compiled an asset list to help me keep a note of everything as I was going through, as there were over 300 sounds used for the level. I hope you've enjoyed my demonstration of some of the features found in Wwise, and feel free to get in touch if you have any questions.